as well as those of you who are joining us online. My name is Leroy Kennedy. I'm the Sabbatical Music Director, and welcome to the last service here at the Tree House. Also want to say Happy Father's Day to each of the fathers here in the building, as well as those of you who are out online, and Happy Juneteenth as well. Yes. So as you can see, this energy is just great today. This is going to be an excellent, wonderful service. I believe each and every one of you will be blessed. So with that, we encourage you at home to find a place where you can be present, light your chalice, close your eyes during meditation, and join in with the singing of the hymns, of which our opening hymn is hymn number 101, Abide With Me. If we will all stand and let's join in singing together. Abide with me, fast falls the evening tide. The darkness deepens, still with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, oh, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Swift to its close, ebbs of life's little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. Change and decay in all around I see. Oh, thou who changest not, abide with me. I fear no foe, with thee at hand to bless. Ills have no weight, and 'tis no bitterness. Where is death's sting? Where grave thy victory? I triumph still if thou abide with me. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning worship with the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, a beloved community that changes lives. This is going to be a long service, but you're not going to want it to end, trust me. I'm Dr. Tony Stringer, and I'm delighted to be with you this morning when we celebrate Juneteenth, Father's Day, and our final Sunday in the Treehouse. Whenever UCA meets as a community, we transform lives through courageous action and soulful connection. Wherever you are from, whomever you love, and whatever path you are on, you are most welcome here.
Good morning. I'm Kate Sweeney, a UUCA lay liturgist, and I'm pleased to be with you in worship today. Here are this morning's announcements. Grow in wonder with religious education programs. Registration is now open for children and youth from nursery school through 12th grade. Starting in our new building, we will be offering Soulful Start, an hour of religious education programming for all ages, including adults from 10 until 11 each Sunday morning. Then children in the nursery school through 3rd grade have an additional hour of programming available to them from 11 till noon. Transform with us in the year to come. As we continue building the way to our new campus, UUCA staff will be spending the month of July focusing on creating the community of our dreams. Our congregants and neighboring communities have generously organized pop-up events to keep us connected and living our values through the summer. Check out the schedule in your weekly update and at the link below for those of you at home, and watch for updates each week in your newsletter. Save the date, y'all. 2 dates, actually. August 7th is our first service in our new building. So excited. And a second date here for you guys. Sunday, September 18th will be our grand opening and home blessing celebration on our new North Druid Hills campus. A full schedule of fun, reverence, and reflection will be shared on our website and in the weekly update later on this summer. Through the live chat, we can express love and care for each other. Please take a moment to say hello to folks, including anyone who may be visiting this morning's worship. So much love to share. And now, please join with me. Please join with me in saying the chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care, so call us crazy. Run away in a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, just say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Please join us in the movement prayer led by the Watts family. First, we bow to honor the spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of spirit. We bring these gifts unto ourselves with gratitude and breathe and smile. We share these gifts with the world. We remember to be present. Honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way.
Let us put hands on hearts. Feel the warm connection. Let love in this moment flow. Say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love will help heal the world. At this time, we hear the joys and sorrows of this congregation. On this Father's Day, let us pause to remember those who fathered us. On this Juneteenth, let us pause to remember those who fought and fight for our freedom. As we mark our last Sunday in the treehouse, we acknowledge this will be a joy for many of us who fondly remember our old home on Cliff Valley and impatiently dream of our new home on Druid Hills. But for others who joined this community more recently, there may be a touch of sadness, a hint of nostalgia for this place, the only congregational home they've known. We acknowledge both the joy and the sadness of leaving. You're invited to say the names of people you are holding in your hearts this morning. Speak their names into this holy space or write their names into the chat now. May all beings find connection. May all people find comfort. May all of us find ways to be more loving to one another. As humans have gathered for millennia, so we gather on this day to gently surrender to something beyond ourselves, to humbly acknowledge our mistakes, to ask forgiveness, to seek hope and renewal, to honor the earth that supports and sustains life, to remember that all beings are all inextricably and mysteriously connected. Now we still our bodies and we still our minds. We take in a big breath, and then we exhale. We relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the wise silence.
Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
their strength, their tenderness, their courage, their vulnerability, their love. Not every child has a father in their life, and not every father is able to be everything we might wish for. So this is also a day to honor fathering and to express thanks to whoever gave the gift of fathering to us. In honor of fathers and fathering, we have a special story read by Alayla Watts to her dad.
When dads don't grow up. Some dads just never grow up. You can tell which ones they are. They know that milk tastes better through straws, that bubble wrap is for popping, and that rocks are for throwing if there's water around. Dads who haven't grown up still watch comic books and watch cartoons. They don't mind sharing the couch or checking for monsters in their closets. And they love mixing up words in bedtime stories. Their kids are lucky. When dads don't grow up, they understand that shopping carts are for racing, that clothes don't have to match, and that pancakes weren't meant to be round. They like to spend a lot of time outside in sunshine, rain, or snow. But they believe in indoor sports too, so they're pretty good at fixing things. You know who they are, the dads who aren't worried about looking goofy or getting their hair wet, if they still have any. The ones who pretend they like going out for fancy dinners when they'd rather eat in a truck. And that sitting still is almost impossible. They never stop trying to join in either. And sometimes they forget how big they are, but usually that comes in handy. Don't be fooled. They may look like grown-ups on the outside, but underneath, they're just like us, kids.
It's a hard act to follow, y'all. So, when I was a teenager in the 1990s, the buzzword was diversity. Many people will remember this. All the posters and bumper stickers proclaiming, "Celebrate diversity." Seems like a fine idea, right? But here's another thing. At the time, it was also tacitly understood that there were, quote, and y'all might know where I'm going with this, diverse people and non-diverse people. The diverse being folks who weren't white, folks who weren't straight, et cetera, et cetera. Furthermore, the cultural practice of, quote, celebrating diversity at the time seemed to mean having, quote, diverse folks hanging out in the periphery, window dressing to make non-diverse folks feel good about themselves. In this way, it was a sense of diversity with whiteness, with ableness, and with cisgendered straightness at its center. This is the sense of diversity that still prevails in many places. Now, one thing that draws me to UCA is the work taking place here to move beyond the window dressing version of diversity, moving beyond, dare I say, that sense which makes it easy for folks who look like me to imagine somewhere in the backs of our minds that this congregation is really mostly for us. The world is not really mostly for us. This is a value that means something to me. It means something to me today on Juneteenth, and as we observe our movement from this space that has held us even as we've all continued to grow and change and shift these past 2 years and counting. It means something to me that this congregation is moving toward beloved community by working to actively center all the identities that we are, and doing so with candor and integrity, acknowledging mistakes, starting again in good faith. Today, I give my offering in honor of all the messy work that has taken place, and all of that which is yet to come, and to the joy that this begets. For all the joy. This morning's offering is our final in the treehouse, and it is a give away the plate to Planned Parenthood Southeast advocates with whom we are building a partnership for the work ahead to secure freedom of choice for pregnant people in our region. So much critical work. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me, brother, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come, change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. There've been times that I thought that I couldn't last for long, but now I think that I'm just gonna carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Thank you, Christopher McKnight. And now, please join me in the dedication of the offering. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community, we dedicate our lives, and these are our offerings.
Some incredible singing. Yeah. Some of you don't even know where you are this morning, do you? Juneteenth is the oldest continuously celebrated African American holiday. It commemorates a pivotal time in this nation's history, one that still resonates a century and a half later. On January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln declared African men and women who had been enslaved in the Confederate States to be forever free. 2 years later, on January 31st, 1865, the U.S. Congress passed the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery throughout all of the United States. And so America began the process of freeing its captive Africans, and just as importantly, began the process of freeing itself. The welcome word of freedom was slow to spread, but wherever it spread, whenever it spread, freedom was celebrated. Word of their emancipation didn't reach enslaved people in Texas until June 19th, 6 months after the 13th Amendment passed. I suspect there are still some parts of Texas that haven't gotten the word. But this is what we celebrate when we celebrate Juneteenth: getting the message, getting the welcome word. We commemorate Juneteenth this morning with the traditional African-American spiritual, When Israel Was in Egypt's Land, sung by UCA musician Willie Sullivan, and Maya Angelou's poem, Still I Rise, recited by UCA's own poet laureate, Shauna Floyd.
When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room.
The Lord told Moses what to do. Let my people go to lead the tribes of Israel through. Let my people go.
Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high still, I'll rise.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops weakened by my soulful cries?
For you the cloud shall clear the way. Let my people go. A fire by night, and shade by day. Let my people go.
Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise.
We need not always weep and moan. Let my people go, and where the slavery chains brawl on, let my people go.
Out of the huts of history shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear. I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This sermon is R-rated. Yes, that's right. On the occasion of our final worship in this treehouse sanctuary, I've chosen to do an R-rated sermon. On Juneteenth and Father's Day, no less, I'm choosing to do an R-rated sermon. You probably weren't expecting that, were you? Let's take a moment to let it sink in. But before you cover your eyes and plug your ears, before you hustle your children from the sanctuary or away from the screen you may be watching at home, let's probe this R rating just a bit. No, there is no gratuitous sex in this sermon. I do make passing reference to the OWL curriculum, something we all should be proud of. The Our Whole Lives, or OWL curriculum, has been used in UU congregations for decades and has helped us raise at least 2 generations of sexually healthy and socially conscious Unitarians. But this sermon isn't rated R because of its brief sexual reference. This sermon does contain violence, but that's not why it's rated R. I do dwell on violence longer than you are likely to be comfortable with. Frankly, I dwell on it longer than I am comfortable with. But the violence is PG at most. It's no worse than what you might read in your daily newspaper. So violence doesn't earn this sermon its R rating. There are no curse words, although I am going to say the word damnation, but not in a cursing manner. There's no foul language, No inappropriate jokes. Well, maybe there's one inappropriate joke, but it's nothing too serious. You could easily say it on network television. The R rating is because this sermon deals with reality. Reality as I see it, as some others that I will reference also see it. Reality as I suspect many of you see it, or perhaps fear it. Now, raise your hand if you come to church to escape reality. Don't be shy, raise your hand. Sometimes I come to church to escape reality too. Church can be fun. We sing, we clap, we hug friends and acquaintances indiscriminately. At least we used to, not so much now, but we will be huggers again soon. It's okay if sometimes that's why you come to church. But ours is not a religion that avoids reality. True, we choose to give hope in our sermons rather than hellfire. We offer dreams rather than damnation. But we do not avoid reality. And this sermon is rated R for reality. Now, there are two other reasons why this sermon is rated R, but we'll return to them later. Right now, before we start, let's just take a breath together. Breathe in, inhale deeply. Pause and hold that breath in the tension of your lungs. Now exhale completely, relaxing that tension. Let's remember to breathe as we begin our R-rated journey. I know you can see it just as I can. You can see it in the 6th of January assault on Congress to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power, an assault that grows more distant with each passing day, yet simultaneously more present with each distorted recollection, an assault that's especially present for us in the midst of congressional hearings. You can see it in the failure to renew old and to pass new voting rights legislation, all while voting districts are gerrymandered, because that is the way it has always been done. And obstacles are placed on voting itself in a fraudulent attempt to stop the voting fraud, which does not even exist. I know you can see it just as I can, and it looks like an unraveling of America. So remember to keep breathing. I know you can hear it just as I can. It's the sound of bullets ending the lives of black brothers and sisters, our black siblings, if you prefer the non-gendered language. Lives ended as they worshiped in church, as they shopped in stores, as they went about the normal tasks of daily life. It is the sound of final breaths, the final gasps, not just of George Floyd, with the weight of racism and police indifference to black lives literally pressing down upon his neck. Not just Floyd's final gasps, but the final breaths of the 229 black brothers, sisters, siblings of us all. 229 dying at the hands of police in just the first year after Floyd's murder. It's been 2 years now, and I do not know how many more last breaths have been uttered. And though I can barely stand to hear it, it is the sound of our children crying in Uvalde. I know you can hear them just as I can, and it sounds like an unraveling of the moral fabric of America. So remember to breathe. I know you can feel it just as I can. You can feel it in the hostility towards vaccination. You can feel it in the hostility towards face masks. You can feel it in the banning of books about racism and the Jewish Holocaust from American classrooms. You can feel it in the sudden support of right-wing America for dictators and tyrants anywhere in the world they may be found. You can feel it in the impending Supreme Court decision to end a pregnant woman's choice over the future of her own body. I know you can feel it just as I can. And it feels like an unraveling of America as we know it. It's a lot to take in, a lot to handle. So let's remember to breathe. What does this unraveling mean? Is this a prelude to a new civil war in America, as some seem to think? Hate crimes against random Asian women, is that what sparks a civil war? Or is it the larger and more dramatic assaults, the lone shooter incidents in public places, the bombs planted at Washington political party headquarters, the plots to kidnap the governor of Michigan, the assault on Congress itself? Is this the way that civil war begins? Or does it begin with theories of conspiracy, oft-reported false claims of voter fraud costing Trump his election, ludicrous claims that Democrats run sex trafficking rings in the basements of pizzerias? Does such farce spark civil war? Some white supremacist militias seem to think so. Hence, U.S. white militia members have attempted to join the defense of Ukraine, not to fight the injustice of the Russian invasion, but instead to gain the military experience that will aid them when civil war breaks out within our own shores. So remember to breathe. But perhaps it isn't civil war that we should fear. Writing in the January 2022 issue of The Atlantic, the journalist Fenton O'Toole recalls when his father came home and told the family to prepare for civil war in Northern Ireland. At the time, O'Toole was a boy of only 13 living in Dublin. The British military had just killed 13 unarmed civil rights demonstrators in Northern Ireland, and his father was certain this was going to be the tipping point in the escalating violence between Catholics and Protestants. From now on, it was going to be them, meaning Protestants, or us Catholics, his father asserted. Now, I was about 13 when I learned that Irish Catholics and Irish Protestants inexplicably and ridiculously hated each other. I heard about the conflict in an ironic joke about the state of humankind. In a country like Northern Ireland, the joke went, in a country with no blacks and no Jews to hate, people will improvise. So necessary is it for people to hate. O'Toole argues that America today is becoming a lot like the Northern Ireland of his youth. Vicious polarization, a sense that one's kin, however kinship is defined, are the victims of injustice. Yet civil war never came to Northern Ireland, just as it is unlikely to come to America today. We may be ideologically polarized, but we are geographically intermingled. It wasn't that way a century and a half ago when the South tried to secede from the Union. The country then was both ideologically and regionally divided. Today, no matter how hard we try, we can't escape those who believe differently than we do. Those whom we would despise are not living in another state. At most, they are a city, a county, or a zip code away. Truthfully, if we're talking about Atlanta, they are next door or across the street from where we live. There is no escaping for any of us. American democracy may be fragile, but it is not broken. Our institutions may be bruised, but they are not battered, and they're certainly not shuttered. It is not civil war that threatens us, it is uncivil peace. An uncivil peace with those whom we would despise. That is what we should fear. That is how it happened in O'Toole's Northern Ireland. A civil conflict, not quite escalating to a civil war, ensued for 30 years. While there was not a civil war in Northern Ireland, O'Toole tells us, the uncivil peace brought violent death to thousands and miserable life to millions for 30 years. It will be roughly 30 years before America gets to the year 2050. If not before, That will be the year when white supremacy must admit defeat, because there will be no white majority in America in 2050. Population growth trends being what they are, we will be a nation of minorities, a country in which no race, neither white nor black, no ethnicity, neither Asian nor Hispanic, will have majority status. We will also be a country in which no successful political party, neither Republican nor Democrat, can align itself solely with one race or one group of people. We will be what for centuries we have been becoming. We will go from a country born of sometimes willing and sometimes forced communion, a country of people walking separate paths, some of us treading upon others. We will become a country in which disparate people, no longer able to dominate each other, must finally have a way of walking a common path together. And so I am hopeful for 2050 in America. I am hopeful that the changing demographic will change the political and social fabric of our country. I am hopeful for the future of America despite the unraveling of the present moment. But before we get to that future, we will have to contend not with civil war, but with uncivil peace. So how do we bridge the span between now and then, between present and future? How do we, as Unitarian Universalists, act not in a civil war, but in an uncivil peace? I said this sermon was R-rated for reality, but also for two additional reasons. I come now to those two final reasons. The sermon is also R-rated because it is about resistance and restoration. Can I get an amen? Amen. Now, when I first came to UCA some 30-odd years ago, I hardly recognized that this was a Southern congregation. No preacher ever asked for and no preacher ever received an amen. We used to be terrible at call and response, but contrary to all expectation and against all odds, we've gotten better.
Amen.
Amen. You might even say we've become Southern. On this, our final Sunday, we're going to shake the leaves off this treehouse. Say it after me. I will resist.
I will resist.
I will restore.
I will restore.
In states like Texas, UUs are resisting the efforts of legislators to criminalize people who seek life-saving, gender-affirming health care for their trans children.
Amen.
Though such care has saved trans children from suicide, legislators in Texas would rather traumatize those children further by taking them away from supportive and caring parents. And so, UUs resist in the courts. Say it after me, I will resist.
I will resist.
I will restore.
I will restore.
In states where women have lost reproductive choice, UUs are forming what I like to call a modern underground railroad. UUs risk being ridiculed, sued, and even violently assaulted, but UUs are flying impoverished and disempowered women to places where they can access reproductive choice services no longer available in their home communities. UUs take on these risks to preserve the liberty and privacy of all women. Say it, I will resist.
I will resist.
I will restore.
I will restore.
In states like Virginia, Ohio, and Georgia, where honest and inclusive teaching of American history is becoming illegal, where critical thinking about race and racism is replaced with whitewashed propaganda and mythology, UUs are resisting. We're creating inclusive history and social science curricula taught in church, if not in school. We're creating kindergarten through 12th grade appropriate lesson plans that do not avoid the realities of our shared American history, because children are not made strong, healthy, and proud by being lied to. Healthy identities are built upon truth, and self-respect withers if not accompanied by a healthy respect for all. just as we have in our whole lives curriculum to lead our children and youth to healthy sexual identities, perhaps soon we will have in our whole nation curriculum to lead our young people to a broad and inclusive American identity. Say it, I will resist.
I will resist.
I will restore.
I will restore.
Not everyone can do the large things, but we don't have to aim for the sky. We can resist with small acts of courage and creative sabotage. We can restore with gentle acts of kindness, civility, and love. There is no one path to resistance, no single recipe for restoration. There are many. Go to school board meetings just to let harried and harassed school officials know that there's still sane parents out there. Throw banned book parties for children. Sponsor youth sport leagues that do not force trans kids to deny who they are in order to compete. Georgia legislators are trying to suppress under-resourced minority votes by, among other things, banning offering water to people standing in long voting lines in the hot sun. If it is no longer legal to offer a bottle of water to someone standing for hours in a long line, then sell them a bottle of water for a penny instead. It is still legal to loan money in Georgia, so take a few spare pennies with you just in case. Say, I will resist.
I will resist.
I will restore.
I will restore.
If you can light a bonfire, then do so. But if you can only light a chalice in the name of the values you hold dear, if you can only live your everyday life exemplifying those values, then let that be your resistance. If you can only light a candle of kindness, of gentleness, of compassion in the life of one other person, then let that be your act of restoration. Acts both big and small. Acts that make the world better than it is, or that make you a better version of who you are. Acts that keep this congregation the welcoming, salvific community it is meant to be. They are what will get us to the future we deserve. I'm going to ask you to show the world that you are ready. Stand up, in body or in spirit. As you are able, stand up. Stand up here in the sanctuary. Stand up at home, in your living room, your bedroom, your den. We can't see them, but you can imagine them. They are standing. Congregation, if you're ready to leave this treehouse for a new lighthouse, say, we will resist.
We will resist.
If you're ready to end the sojourn in the forest for a new house of worship, welcome, and hope, say, we will restore.
We will restore.
Louder, we will resist.
We will resist.
We will restore.
We will restore.
We will resist.
We will resist.
We will restore.
We will restore.
Congregation, congregation, great God, we are on our way.
I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I ask my sister, come and go with me. I ask my sister, come and go with me. I ask my sister, come and go with me. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I ask my brother, come and go with me. I ask my brother, come and go with me. I ask my brother,
Blessed is the flame which lights our way. Blessed is the flame which warms our hearts, kindles our spirit, nourishes our soul. Blessed is the flame we carry within. This flame, merely its outer symbol, we now extinguish a final time in this place. But the real fire burns unceasingly within us, its energy propelling us to do what justice demands, to be what love requires. When we light it again, we will be in a new space, but we will be the same people. We will be the same community, ever striving to become what the world needs. We're on our way. Follow your flame.
If they say no, I'll go anyhow. I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no,